Good afternoon, LinkedIn friends, Valley First Nation. Happy Friday and Happy New Year. It is January 2nd, 2026. And I'm here with Kate
Ooh.
Hopkins today to discuss some thoughts, some revelations, maybe some predictions as we look into 2026. How you doing, Casey?
I am doing well. Chris, do you do New Year's resolutions or anything like that?
I do not.
I would have been surprised. I really would have feel like it would have been a real plot twist if you were like, "Yes, actually, here is let me give you my journal. I've been journaling."
Yeah, in the past, I have had journaling as a New Year's resolution,
Uh-huh.
um, and never delivered ever. So, yeah, I've found enough stuff at this point that says it's okay and maybe suggests not to have resolutions, that I'm comfortable not having any now and admitting that fact.
That's good. I have a friend that does, like, a word. I've always liked that even though I think I did one last year and I don't remember what I picked, so I guess it didn't stick.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
All I know is whatever you do, you're supposed to do it with intention and purpose and all that good stuff. And I'm enjoying life right now, if I'm being honest, thanks to our AI friends and getting to do all this content and education. And, it's also creating pipeline and revenue in ways that it never has before.
mhm.
So I feel like, the resolution, I mean, I'll just share my plan in life right now is just to design a life that I want to live. And I
Well,
feel like I can do that
there you
thanks to
go.
AI now.
There you go.
So, yeah. Um, Meanwhile, a big part of that is helping everybody around us uh, do what I'm going to refer to as an AI native transformation.
Yeah.
Um,
For
I'm going to say
anyone
that out.
yeah.
Go ahead.
For anyone watching, I usually don't tell Chris what I'm gonna say before we start this, and then he has to just connect whatever comes out of my brain to what we're actually supposed to talk about.
Yep. And that's what I'm good at. I've got 700 episodes of Value First and Let's Build under my belt now. I've always had a knack for that, honestly, just connecting dots that most people won't connect, whether they should be connected or not remains to be seen. But it's easier than ever to do that with AI now. Seeing patterns in places and trying to apply them to new places, kind of my jam. So give it your best shot today, Casey. Um, but this started last year when I was doing a bunch of content for like what I called yourcustomerplatform.com and like trying to figure out ways to get people to wake up to what was about to happen with Profoundly and just like how do we break free from industrial thought processes. And now I think it's more important than ever. So this is like my second time doing this. Um, when I said I wanted to do something like this with you, what was your first what first came to mind?
Well, I slacked you this. My actual immediate thought was, I guess I need to start forming some opinions about 2026.
Yeah.
I said,
I mean,
"Sure."
if you want.
And then after that, I also thought, I guess I should catch up on reading the stuff that Chris has sent me over the last week. Uh, so I watched a couple of things while playing Sims in the background.
There you go. Was one of those things the one I did last year?
No,
Just
no,
curious. Okay. Because I
nope.
put
This is
that
all new to me.
in the
That would
value
have been
first
that would have been
slot.
a smart way to prepare. Um,
No, I think it's better to have you not prepared. Because then you
good.
can just most people at this point tell me They don't say I need to be put in my place, but it kinda sounds like it sometimes, that I'm all in, like, cloud 9 and nobody understands what I'm talking about. Thankfully, people like you and Riley and
I
Clement
was like, "Is that why
just
you were like, 'I'll have Casey come'?"
have, know how to ask me to calm it down a little bit, or get me to translate it into practical terms, so I'm getting better at that. Um, so yeah, we're gonna do that today, and I spent a lot of time last year describing the difference between revelations and predictions. I won't take as much this year, but I think it's a key distinction because most people are talking in predictions mode, and a lot of what we're already seeing and what we're already helping people with, like it's a thing. Like those aren't predictions. So like we're not guessing on what might happen. In most of these cases, we might talk about it at length enough to make some guesses related to each of the five, but for the most part, these are already truths in my opinion. Um,
Mhm,
and we'll start with the first one. Um, we've been talking about this since, I mean, in content terms, like all of last year, basically, and we did a data summit, a Value First Data Summit about it. But on Wednesday of this week, so December 31st, had another I was brought in to coach, for HubSpot, and the client mentions our board or the leadership team has decided once again that unified data context layer is a good idea. It's something that they should do. And she said it just like that, like again, like the third or fourth time
mhm,
that they've decided that. And it's time to act. Um, and we talked about it in a number of ways, but basically, and we're going to talk about unification via platform later in the chat. But this has to like unified data context already happens all the time. It's just somebody at the last second spending 7 hours on a slide deck, like one-off presentations and spreadsheets that get made for board meetings,
mhm,
so that everybody can decide, okay, we need unified data context,
mhm,
and then no action is taken.
mhm.
Does this sound familiar to you, Casey?
Yeah, for you use the term unified data a lot. I mean, it's probably like, you know, if you wanted to do a bingo card of words from Chris Carolyn, I would recommend putting unified data on there, if you wanna win, I guess. Can you or maybe can I explain it and make sure I understand what unified data means? Um, and what I think unified data means is that you can see the data for the full life cycle of the person, human, customer. Um,
Yep.
where you see their pre-sales activity, anything that happened there. You see their sales activities and then like the post initial sale at least activities. Any like if it's an app, for example, what they're actually using in the app. Um, and that in theory would show you like if they're likely to upgrade and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
great.
I mean, data is one of the words, but ultimately it's the context. And I
Mhm,
think what was interesting, and so the shift here, the revelation needs to be like it's not a tool. It's not a
mhm,
tool problem. It's not an AI problem.
mhm,
It's not something AI is going to magically solve for
mhm,
you. Um, During this conversation on Wednesday, I
mhm,
heard tool names,
mhm.
like HubSpot and Salesforce and Gainsight and Google and like constant, like 100 times before I started sharing my thoughts.
Mhm.
And everybody, like when you say that out loud, it's like, oh yeah, yeah, we know it's not a tool problem. So it's
Mhm.
like, doesn't matter if it's HubSpot or Salesforce. When you like on the bottom here, it says leaders approve data initiatives. IC's individual contributors are the ones manually assembling them for the
Mhm.
unified views because they're allowed or forced to think in terms of tools for my team, for
Mhm.
me. Either like everybody has a separate kind of initiative to unify data. So customer success is going to use their platform, and sales is going to use their platform, and marketing is going to use their platform. Or the business tries to like ERP it up and put it all in one platform that nobody likes to use. So then everybody brings their own tools
Mhm.
to actually get the job done. And then at the end of the month, you're asked for the 2 or 3 slides from everybody that then a leader puts together in like a 100-slide deck that then creates like a unified context, right? Um, so we're already seeing everybody recognizing it, but it's still hard to act because SaaS doesn't help you like know what to do next.
I think one of the things that drives me the most crazy as a, like, in a HubSpot when I'm working in a HubSpot admin role, um, is I feel like people are constantly asking me to automate things, and I often find myself in these positions where I'm like, "Should we?" Like, I'm doing a lot here to automate something so that it's going to be worse than, like you said, individual contributors manually assembling their views. I think and we've talked about this a lot with, like, when we talk about scoring, if we give visibility into what's being scored, then we're giving the individual contributors the options or the visibility into seeing, "Okay, that is good or bad or wrong," in a way that if we in a way that most organizations are usually just they just want they don't wanna see how the sausage is made.
Right.
But
Yeah,
you kinda need it.
they just want the output, right?
Mhm.
And that's where um there we go. Okay, I know how to use technology.
It's the
Uh
2nd of January, this is when we all remember what our jobs are.
I'm also using like a second screen that's like from 2011 and has wonderful resolution. Um, but anyway, that was a great setup actually for Revelation number two,
As I intended.
right? Because everybody's asking for automation often because they're being forced to do this. Like, how do I get the 7 hours per slide down to 2 hours? Like, AI is supposed to be able to do that for me, right? And if we're stuck here, like thinking that
Mhm,
we should be spending any time on a slide because we have to manually assemble, we're starting from the wrong place, right? Because AI can help you do that. Um, but I had a great chat starting to define AI native with George and Nico earlier this morning. And I'm starting to break it down like industrial mindset versus AI native mindset. Like the industrial mindset is what we just described, where, oh, I have this shitty task I need to do. How can AI help me do that task? Right. So, same keyboard, more
mhm,
typing.
mhm,
Um, instead of, hey, maybe AI can make it so we don't even have to do this thing.
mhm,
Right.
mhm,
And over the past 2 weeks alone, what I've learned with AI has been just ridiculous. And example I shared this morning was this is now live streaming on the valuefirstteam.com website as another destination coming from StreamYard alongside LinkedIn and YouTube.
Mhm.
And I was able to build that into the website. And when I was asking Gemini for um, for how to do that, it started with actual video hosting, and then turned into live streaming from the website. He gave me categories that included no code and drag and drop like software, uh, and included developer focused tools, right? And I've never referred to myself as a developer. I still won't. I don't code. I'm not doing the code. But in October, I wouldn't even have looked at the developer options,
Mhm.
right? Like
Mhm.
I have enjoyed HubSpot because of its drag and drop functionality. It's easy to use, easy to maintain. But since learning how to use Cloud Code, I went to the developer options, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's an example of the AI native shift in that the capabilities are different. So why would we limit ourselves to these? And I think it's a great example of I'm using more complex tools without the trained capability to do so,
Mhm.
thanks to AI. And the more complex tools that are required to do the complex thing that I want to do, which is live streaming on a website, like is possible. But if I like in the same vein as like keep it simple, if I said, oh, I want to keep it simple, let me just go with the no code tools. Now I'm paying more than I probably need to. I have less creative license to do it how I want to do it, right?
Mm.
You run into all these barriers. And so I think that's one of the examples that come to mind. Um, I don't know, when you think about AI native, like how does that relate to kind of some of your recent experiences?
I have been a little obsessed lately, um, about getting transcripts into HubSpot for this purpose because I feel like from a lot of the tools that I use, which is like workflows, data updates, emails, things like that. Um, I know you're looking at it from a developer standpoint. I am like too far to the beginning of that to have like a perspective on that at this moment in time. I believe that by this time next year, maybe I will. But I think for like my day to day, um, it's really the getting that context into a tool that can interpret the context for me. And HubSpot is one, but also Claude and things like that. For me personally, that ends up being transcripts from calls because I spend a lot of time on calls. But then transitioning that into data inside of HubSpot, but also tasks and follow-up items and things like that.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. And that's where I think you'll be surprised how quickly you get there because I've mentioned before, I'm not a big workflows guy because I'm always focused on data,
Mhm.
but I have built some workflows
Built some
through Claude
workflows.
Code, through the API, like things I never
Mhm,
would have even tried to do.
mhm,
Um, and that's all possible, like this whole developer layer, right?
mhm,
Um, and that's where it gets to the automation of the slide deck. If you're still going to do them, should be done. Like they should be delivered to wherever you want them delivered to, and then you're, doing the final touches to prepare them for the adaptation that you have to make. If you're
Mhm.
there, like handcrafting slides and grabbing data from like you're just not in a good place, and you're going to fall behind, pretty quickly.
Mhm.
I also wanted to note George's example from this morning. Like he said, he made 95 worksheets last night related to 95 articles from his website. That like the one worksheet template, something that would take like 5 weeks plus.
Mhm.
Like if you're like, all right, content's done. Now we
Mhm.
want to make a worksheet. Hey, design team, like go do this. And we're gonna have design briefs and all this stuff. Right.
Mhm.
And so, but I anticipate one of the challenges to this would be, well, how are you going to use all, like, nobody's going to consume all those worksheets. Like, isn't that AI slop and blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
We're not doing this to support um, like organic consumption anymore. Right.
Mhm.
And like what this allows for is that George, no matter what somebody comes to him with, will always have a worksheet or an article
Mhm.
to create value immediately.
Mhm.
Right. And this mindset that you can even get to that point of scale is so important. And that of course relates to our third revelation.
I was like,
Like
you can't say George V. Thomas without saying.
right. And like it's funny because I'm asking you to switch into an AI native
Mhm.
mindset. And now I'm telling you human expertise is more important than ever. But it's domain expertise, right? Like I'm able to show up on calls for HubSpot in a way I've never been able to before because of all the content that I've done, all the conversations that I have, because of the confidence that I have that I can help with HubSpot. So in this case, the HubSpot is like one of the domains, right? In that, like general practitioners, like this is where AI is gonna, it's gonna be harder. Like because what I can do with HubSpot as an example is not just say, oh, this is how you do this in HubSpot. It's this is how you want to do it in HubSpot. This is how you tell this person you're going to do it. This is how you get the meeting together so that everybody can be on the same page. And you're going to talk about not HubSpot, but you're going to do the thing in HubSpot because this is what causes all these challenges, right? There's so much nuance in every domain about how to get work done, how to get
Mhm.
people aligned, how to
Mhm.
build common language. And AI is still miles away from that, especially in terms of HubSpot. Can't stop telling me like projects and services are custom objects, and they're not. Um, but uh, so see on the screen here, like AI is the breadth, right? Wide knowledge and instant synthesis. Humans have depth, right? Context and domain. And you put those together, right? That's what changes an organization.
Mhm.
Um, and I love this statement on the bottom because what's actually happening out there still, and I've been experiencing this since 2020, like companies don't appreciate the expertise that they have in house because they're often buried in like customer data entry
Mhm.
and admin of systems.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, the company will hire outside consultants to tell them how to grow and how to go to market, and
Mhm.
they don't know their context well enough, so it doesn't go well,
Mhm.
right? AI, when you apply it in an AI native way, now you have all these humans with expertise already in your organization
Mhm.
that you can apply in a way that most organizations aren't seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm we talk about this all the time. I mean, I think last year I personally built tens of scores for companies. Um, and but I say all the time, uh, although I know the tools better than most people, I do not know your business better. And sometimes there's an advantage there, in that I don't have the biases of knowing the organization and what they want versus what is true. But I also just think oftentimes when I'm able to help an organization build their score using their internal team, the scores become more powerful, they're able to be maintained more, and so on. So I agree that
Yeah.
the humans are really the key there.
Yeah. And I think that's the like moving forward, if you say you know HubSpot and you can help people with HubSpot and you don't know that piece of it where you can't, like, if you come in and think you're going to audit HubSpot without talking to anybody internally, like you're not the HubSpot expert that that company needs,
Mhm,
if they're asking you to audit their portal,
mhm,
right? Like the humans involved are so very important, um, and they're growing in importance. So again, AI native to create space to like use your humans that you already have in the organization. There's so much value to be unlocked there. And so when you think about those two things together, revelation number 4 is actually getting to unified views and knowing where people are in the journey, right? So a lot of the content that you're going to see in Q1 from us is related to unified views and the value path, right? So the 4 unified views, the customer, the unified customer view, unified revenue view, unified context, and unified business context, and unified team enablement. Um, as we've started talking about that more, um, what what do you see for us in 2026 as a like the best way for us to actually be successful getting people to like get on board with this?
So I mean, revenue. 'Cause that's what everybody cares about. Um, it's interesting, like, I think that's yeah, revenue is what everyone's gonna care about. Um, customer, I think, is, like, we're the closest in many organizations to that one. I don't know a lot that have that, but, like, people are often, like, working towards that piece, the customer view. The context view is what I find the most interesting, though, um, just to hit on a couple.
Why do you
But,
find that the most interesting?
um, I think I find it the most interesting because it's the piece that I feel like was impossible before AI in many ways. Um, like customers, who they are, we've been trying to solve that, like as long as I've been in marketing. We've been asking people questions, we've been trying to enrich their data. Yeah, for my entire career, we've been figuring that out. Revenue, what they're worth. I mean, it- that is what every slide, most slide decks I've ever created have been in an attempt to figure out like the ROI on our marketing efforts, what it's actually bringing in. So like I just feel like we've been like we've been trying to solve for that. Not to say that it can't be better, but we've been trying. And even in team, less so, but like generally you have an idea of who's on your team and how you're supporting your customers. Um, all of that with the caveat of like how accurate was any of that, but
Yes.
um but
That you kept
context
saying trying there, I
trying.
think was a key word because unless I mean, the only time I've ever seen this is in like Fortune 500 organizations
Mhm,
or the opposite, like single person, like small businesses that have like one spreadsheet
mhm,
that has everything in it,
mhm,
or the big orgs that have like $1 million implementations of customer data software
mhm,
and ERPs that actually bring everything together from all of the systems that they have to support it. Um, but even like you said, you were still having to create slide decks to then like serve this information up because there's always tweaks. And you brought up revenue, which is interesting because it says what they're worth underneath here, which every
I
CFO has a spreadsheet
mhm,
that they put together
mhm,
to try and put forecasting and real dollars
mhm,
like in the same place.
mhm,
Like, and what's going to be fun about 2026 is you can actually do this inside of HubSpot now
mhm,
if you ask it to, right? We've got the
mhm,
data model that supports bringing real revenue into the place that you have your, let's say, hopeful revenue, like your forecasts related to the first touch and what happens after that,
mhm,
right? In a way that we've never been able to before. Because even
mhm,
in those big platforms, those high dollar platforms, and certainly in those spreadsheets,
mhm,
you're not connecting the first touchdown on LinkedIn to like what the person or somebody like them
mhm,
like paid you in the past, right? So actually determining what they're worth hasn't really been as successful when you're thinking of past, present, future, and all of those together, right?
yeah, yeah,
And when you bring those together, you can actually get to
mhm,
why they matter, right?
mhm,
And context is going to be all about like all the signals that HubSpot's giving you that can give you now, including buyer intent and research intent. And is somebody publishing articles on a topic that you care about? Like all of that is sitting in HubSpot now. But when you don't have these two views done,
mhm,
you're never going to get to why they matter.
mhm,
And the closest you get is to the CEO saying, oh, I think they matter, like based on gut reaction, which sometimes is better than oftentimes better than the data that you have.
yeah,
But right, it's not the same as, oh, our ICP is CEOs in this industry because I want to talk to the CEO. Like they can make the decisions. And it's
mhm,
like, well, you're never going to get there, first of all. And in reality, that CEO is asking this manager or
mhm,
this director to make that decision.
mhm,
So why they matter is going to take into all of that. Um, and the team part, I think, is where people try to start because it's internal only and it
mhm,
feels easier. But that's like project management platforms basically have come into there. But when you don't have it in the context of these other three, it's easy to just get in check the box mode. Like, we don't know what's going on down here, but I've got a task to do. Let me do it. Okay. Do I know what I'm doing with these tasks? All right. I'm excited to see this shift because all of it is in the face of the value path, which is understanding exactly where people are when you're seeing these views. Because often the main thing that breaks revenue understanding is existing customers that could buy more stuff, right?
yeah. I think that how to serve them, the team view, the project management. Um, I have a client who bought a software a year ago. Um, they still don't have it implemented and their renewal is coming up. So they're not feeling super eager about renewing the software that they've been paying for a year and they haven't gotten it launched. Um, and I think when you have when your project management system lives separate or siloed from your sales CRM, whoever their renewal manager is gonna be like, "All right, time for the renewal," writing an email, and I think it just it's just so bad. It's so
Yeah,
like, you can see it.
right. Like, oh, the deal's created. It's time for me to follow up on this renewal
Mhm,
deal. And
mhm,
of course, I'm forecasting it because why wouldn't they renew?
mhm,
Um, and then you talk to them for the first time in 12 months
mhm,
and you're like, yeah, we're not even using it yet.
mhm,
Like, and you're talking about renewing. And sometimes you're also talking about an increase,
mhm,
like in the
mhm,
cost at renewal. Oh, because I signed a contract that said it's going to go up 5%.
mhm,
Like, no. Um, yeah, people are done with that. And a lot of the first three stages, right, of like AI native, man, I'm finding lots of ways to reduce software all over the place
mhm,
by thinking, what can I do with Claude Code? What agents can I build? What automation can I build? Right. And that's where you see at the bottom here, leaders debate tools, ICs configure and build, right? They have configured and built, like I was saying, spreadsheets and slides. Now they're actually building their own tools, like their own things to get this done.
mhm,
And all it takes is one of those to then show the leader, like, oh, yeah, we
mhm,
don't need this software anymore.
mhm,
Like, let's give me the tools to build it in house.
mhm.
Right. And the cost, again, like when you understand the human expertise you have, that makes sense than buying a brand new shiny software and have it be implemented by somebody who doesn't know your business and doesn't know your industry.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Um, so, uh, with that, um, I think we're already starting to see a lot of humans on video. Uh, of course, I've been beating this drum for a while now, but I think while a lot of people are going to be trying to figure out like the new ways of doing SEO in an AEO like skin,
Mhm,
like what words do I got to use? How do I got to structure them on the page? Like all that nonsense. Um, that's not like where the trust happens. And a lot of our systems aren't built to support this. And I had a good back and forth a few weeks ago. I still think it's a good example of, impressions have been down for a long time on LinkedIn, and people are talking about traffic's being down, and all these things are down. Yet, when conversion happens, like the people that do show up have higher conversion rates, and it's like, why are we surprised by this? But as your impressions go down, and you try to find ways to like hack the system, and you get more impressions, it's come up that LinkedIn as a place is not designed for video.
mhm,
So video reach sucks,
mhm,
like in terms of like normal reach, right? The way you define reach is usually impressions.
mhm,
And are you having impressions with the right group of people, right? But
mhm,
the argument was text versus video, right? And
mhm,
text gets higher impressions because people sit there and they consume it and they read it, right? But are we taking into account the difference between, like, let's say there's 100 impressions for the video, and even if it's only a couple seconds, they see a smiley human face. on there
Mhm.
versus if it's a couple of seconds or they even read the text, they might not even pay attention to who did it. There's no human face, there's no human smile. And I think there's a huge difference in the weight of those 100 video impressions versus the weight of, thousands of text-based impressions. And I think like what we saw at Inbound this year and what I've seen at in-person events is like you feel it there when people that you've never met before show up and say, "Oh, I've seen all your stuff." And it's like, then they can't necessarily tell you what you talk about. But
Mhm.
at that point, they're coming up to you in person like they know you
Mhm.
already.
Mhm.
Like that's every salesperson's dream,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So I think that people are gonna get smart to that. Um, and I don't know. I would love your thoughts on this and maybe sharing some of your experiences as you've definitely increased your video content over last
Y
year.
Yeah, I mean, hard to say this without, I don't know, trying not to give you too much credit to get your head too big, basically. Uh, but, I mean, I've said it before. Um, I make video content because you told me to. And you invited me to, is maybe a more accurate representation of it. Um, and I remember, I have a friend, Trisha, who now makes a lot of video content. Um, when she started freelancing, I told her, "You should be making video content." Chris told me to. Um, no, but I told she was kinda like, "I don't know, I don't get it," and she kept asking me how many impressions my videos got and this and that, and I told her, and she says this now too, I was like, "Honestly, even when a video doesn't get a lot of impressions, people see your face and they think you're think that you're important." I mean, I think I told you a couple months ago about I was at, like, a football cookout or something, and, like, a couple of my friends walked up to me and they were like, "Casey, you're killing it on LinkedIn," and I was like, "Uh, they don't even know what HubSpot is." Like, I don't think they're watching my videos, but they're like, "She's everywhere." Um, and I hear that, all the time, and you also just start to get, yeah, invited into the room. It you know, last week we were it was Kyle Jepsen's birthday. I made a video for him and I said, I was on a panel with him early in 2025 and I was truly when whoever, whether it was you or someone, whoever told me Kyle Jepsen was going to be on the panel with me, I was like, why me? I was like, they should call someone better to talk to Kyle. Um, and now I talk to Kyle like once a week, and like he knows who I am. And there is something kind of to that. Also.
Yeah. The confidence,
Hmm.
right? Um, like there's a bit of control your own destiny here.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like LinkedIn is available for anybody. Like I often tell people who might not know about what I do or how to do this. It's like imagine going to your local TV studio
Hmm.
and just opening up the door and saying, "Hey guys, I'm gonna build my own show and I'm gonna start filming it here, and I'm not gonna pay you, and it's gonna go out on the airwaves." And like you say, like it's an interesting like you want to hack the system.
Hmm.
There are I think like humans that know that you have a show. They've probably never seen the show. There's just this different
Hmm.
like understanding
Hmm.
of them like, oh, you must be important, right? And I can tell you, like when I tell people that I do a HubSpot show every day, Like, there's no more questions about whether or not I know what I'm talking about when it
Mhm.
comes to HubSpot, right? And that's why we talk about showing up every day,
Mhm.
like, in whichever way you need to, right? It's
Mhm.
not LinkedIn Lives for everybody, but when you can show up and be seen and be adding value in that way,
Mhm.
you can then confidently say you know what you're talking about because then if that person ever checks, you're there,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And um there's gonna be a ton like I said with the previous George example, like this is not nobody's gonna consume it all,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But when we talk about the value path and you start seeing all the value path content, we talk
Mhm.
about actually converting together, like putting everybody on your team in a position to when somebody raises their hand or somebody shows interest, you're always going to be there with relevant, valuable interactions because you've got content for every style,
Mhm.
right? That's super powerful. And I'm another thing I'm gonna start leaning into that confidence factor more because uh Sam had a conversation with Ryan Ginsburg recently, and it's still hard for people to understand what the value of a HubSpot coach is, right? Because we're
Mhm.
not hands on keyboard, we're not doing it for you, right? But you don't know what the hell you're doing. So
Mhm.
somebody's got to help you. That doesn't mean they should do it for you, especially when you're paying for HubSpot and it's so easy like to do yourself and you've got all the expertise, etc. Right. So he was telling me about a situation where he thought like the contract was going to end, but then like they went quiet, but then came back saying, all right, we're ready to go for the next phase because they had spent the time internally to make the case based on Ryan's findings and Ryan's support.
Mhm.
And the hard part is if you were to ask a CFO, if a CFO were to ask, what did we get in return?
Mhm.
Like you don't get to say confidence and
Mhm.
have that be worth the money that was being paid in this contract.
Mhm.
But it is worth that much because now the organization can move forward with confidence. Like, so the ability to deliver confidence, right, comes from being in it every day and having these conversations. And when you can enable your team of experts
Mhm.
to start to think and present in these ways,
Mhm.
right? They're only going to keep up leveling. Your brand's going to up level. You're going to build more trust. And it really is, as much as you hear about deep fakes, like it's the hardest thing to fake at scale, right? Because if you're not there in response to the comment or the video, then they know like it's not actually you.
Mhm.
So, um, yeah, this is going to be powerful, I think.
Yeah.
And I hope that like so for leaders, if you're still approving content calendars like that, it's just again, it's the old traditional what approach to this. Like the closest thing you should be doing to a content calendar is that here's the tools you need to show up every day. And here's like the 10 things that you can talk about, but we're not going to know what those are because every conversation is happening live. And when you can insert yourself with content into those conversations live, like it is always relevant. You don't have to try to be relevant because it's a
Mhm.
natural like part of the conversation. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a friend that's looking for a new role, and she met with um someone like a recruiter or something. I don't whatever. But one thing they talked about too is like if you don't feel comfortable writing your own LinkedIn posts, doing your own LinkedIn videos, just commenting on other people's. um, and I know a lot of people in the LinkedIn in like the HubSpot LinkedIn community that don't do a lot of their own posts, but I know them because they comment on a lot of our posts, a lot of our friends' posts, like things like that.
Yeah. And I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit,
Oh god.
because I'm guessing there's some valuable insight to be learned. Um, in February was when I asked you to start showing up every day. I think you had already started the lead scoring Mondays at that
I think I
point,
had probably, yeah.
right? Well, back in July of 2024, we did a Let's Build together,
That you forgot it existed, yes. I'm familiar.
and I did not forget it existed. Um, and at that time, I'd started doing content with Danielle and Urban and Brian Osa and Tony and some other people, and all of them could pick like a day and a time to show up each week. Uh, and by the time we got to ours, like neither of us really like could pick a day or a time. And I'm curious what happened between and July of 2024 and January of 2025 that led to you deciding to do like lead scoring Mondays and actually like, committing to a day of the week.
Um, I think confidence. She says confidently. It's like the least confident way I could say that. Um, so I think that was one piece. Um, to be totally wait, 2025, maybe not. I had like a big lull in my freelance career, but actually I don't think that overlaps the way I thought it was. Um, because I know there was like I've been freelancing since full time. I've been freelancing since 2022. Um, and I've said for a while, like freelance is ebbs and flows. And I know it was December of 2024, January 2025 that I think I had my biggest lull. And I was like, shit. And I was like, I might have to get a full-time job. Like I was like really spiraling. Um, but I don't think that overlaps quite as easily. Um, but there's something to be said for that too. Um,
Well, it sounds like the kind
and
of thing that would spark a how can I market myself
yeah,
better? And then you chose to do content on
yeah.
LinkedIn.
I also you talked at the beginning wanting to build a life for yourself around edit and how AI might help you do that. Um, I have this whiteboard. It now doesn't belong to my office anymore. Children have taken over that whiteboard. But at one point it had all of my like hopes and dreams on it. And um I one of those hopes and dreams was to create a career around content instead of on delivery. And that was definitely a piece of it as well.
Yep. And here we are doing content, a lot of it. Um, and if you think it was a lot before, oh man, I'm excited for Value First Media Network. It's going to be launching um, in 10 days on the 12th. That where like all the shows that have been on hiatus are coming back with some more friendly faces that you may not have seen in a while. But also um like it's not just the content, right? It's stuff like office hours that is starting
Mhm.
next week. So all of these things, like if any of these things hit close to home, uh, join us for office hours, free in January, and it's 3 sessions a week. Um, it's like if you like seriously, like if you resonate with any of these things and you want to learn more, like we're going to be talking about these things openly, honestly, on office hours, 3 days a week. You want to add anything else? Any other details related to office hours?
The time of office hours, which is 12 to 1 Eastern, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You don't have to come to all 3 sessions a week. No one's gonna, like, come hunt you down if you missed a session. Really, the purpose of office hours is that I and myself and Chris and a couple other of the Value First team members really like helping people use HubSpot better, and we're really just looking for a platform and a way to do that, um, almost every day.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see this. If you do sign up, you get access to my Value Path portal right away. That's got a bunch of other tools in there, like playbooks and all kinds of stuff that we're going to be doing a lot of content on, but also in these office hours, I'm sure we'll be walking people through a lot of these
Mhm.
things. Um, we got some way to submit questions, so you can get your question answered live, or even if you're not on it, we'll be tackling those questions. So yeah, excited for that. All of these, like those recordings, will be available. Probably gated most of the time for those who are signed up for office hours, but all recordings of stuff like this is going to start being available as well as the live streaming. As I mentioned, here's an example of what I built on the website. And so if you want to do things like this, like seriously, that's what our goal is for things like office hours. But of course, if you want to go bigger, better, faster, lots of ways to serve you via coaching or implementation help to really, get serious about tackling these. Um, so any final thoughts as we wrap up?
Um, no. Thank you, Chris, for putting this together so that I could just show up and share
And have
my
fun.
feedback and have fun. And my seal dog is having some
He's
neediness.
a fan of the office hours, or he can't wait for office hours. One of those things.
Yeah, he was could you hear him being a seal in the background? He was
Yes.
just what is that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
We'll assume he's excited for office hours. Um, so yeah, with that, hope this was helpful. You can grab all this and more on valuefirstteam.com website. And if you want to see more content like this, hit us up, send us a message, connect with us on LinkedIn. Until next time, Happy New Year, and we hope everybody has a great 2026.
Happy
Thanks,
New
Casey.
Year. Bye.